This video is brought to you by TS4U IT Engineering Bootcamp.
So when I use, for example, for two-tier application, so when I use Jenkins for the automation, the first time the image build was same as when I use the GitLab CI. But for the second time, when there was a change in the application code, not the dependencies. So during that time, when I ran the pipeline, so basically the Jenkins server used the cache for the dependencies, and it changed the code, and the image building was faster. But in case of GitLab CI, just because the GitLab CI, we were using the Docker container to run the job, and every time when I ran the pipeline, the container was created new, and the process was taking longer, like the first time. So is there any way workaround so that we can make it faster if we use the GitLab CI?
Okay, so in terms of that, you basically need to have caches implemented inside the GitLab CI. Okay, so if you are using the paid version of GitLab CI, they will actually give you a dedicated instances where you can run your GitLab jobs. Okay, so usually what we run on the GitLab CI is they just chooses one of their shared runners to run your job, and that server might not have the cache that you run. So every time they just runs your job, it just deletes the cache and then you are done. So that's why it takes longer when you run on the GitLab CI. On the other hand, you are running on the same server in Jenkins, right? So
right.
The first build takes time, but the next ones, they just uses the cache, and then it just faster. So on the GitLab CI, what we usually do, we implement caches, okay, build cache. So we basically pre-build the specific things. Let's say the dependency installation part, that actually takes a lot of time, right? So we basically just cache it as another container inside the GitLab CI, and then we just route to that specific cache, so that GitLab CI just gets that cache if there is no change in the let's say dependencies, and then it will just keep installing the dependencies and using the existing cache from another Docker container, and will give you a faster load. But it's on the GitLab CI paid.
The paid version is the solution.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Thanks for clarifying, because I didn't work with the paid version, so now I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shahid bhai, is this? I'm sorry to ask you this piggybacking question, because I was reading some materials early this morning before this session. So is this the similar you mean about cache buster?
Yes. So
using the cache buster, right?
you technically cannot cache burst on the GitLab CI because it will already run cacherless, so it will be running new every single time. So you can do cache busting on the Jenkins, because Jenkins sometimes it's actually harmful to use cache. Okay, just 2 weeks ago, I found out one of my deployments weren't working because of the cache. Okay, so
so if you don't clear the cache, it doesn't work, right? If we don't clear the cache?
Well, sometimes you need some configuration changes, but Docker won't understand that you are you want that configuration changes. Okay, so Docker does this for your good, but sometimes all good actually harms more than helping. Okay, so sometimes you won't even see the changes, but you will find it after going into the production. So I actually faced it myself hundreds of times, and I thought I got a hang on it, but just 2 weeks ago I actually faced this one as well. So I just needed to pass the cache, I needed to build all the image new, and then push a deployment. So using cache all the time is not good. But cache busting you can technically do inside the Jenkins. In GitLab CI you don't need, because it's already runs without the cache. But in terms of the cache implementation, we don't use the paid version of GitLab as well. So we use another tool called Artifactory. So with the Artifactory, we basically can cache all the Docker layers. Okay, so you don't even have to be a paid user. You just need to find out the right tool to cache. Okay, so yeah.